You're listening to the WBT Podcast with Michael Lodge. Listen to all of our podcasts at www.wbtpod.com. Stay informed. Let's get started.
And welcome to the WBT. This is Michael Lodge. Glad you've joined me. Today our conversation is going to be about ageism. It's a word that I learned about yesterday. I'll be right back.
This is brought to you by Lodge & Co., a business and tax advisory firm where your success is our goal. Call us today toll-free at 888-681-1518 or visit us at www.lodge-co.com and learn more about what we can do for you. Lodge & Co., your source for sound business and tax services.
Beautiful day here. Hope it's beautiful in your part of the neck of the woods too. Today we're talking about ageism. I was listening to a video, or watching a video, I should say, on LinkedIn yesterday. I don't know if you follow Gary V. Gary V is a business owner, and he does a lot of podcasts and blogs and vlogs on a daily basis on business. I like him. He's bright. If he just didn't use the F word so much, but other than that, the content that he provides is very good. So he was doing an interview yesterday. He's in Cannes, France. And they were talking about the older workforce out there and how there is a stigmatism on hiring the older individual. And they come up with a whole bunch of different excuses, which is a bunch of hogwash. But the issue has been that individuals are the younger generation is beginning to look at ages 40, maybe sometimes even 30, sometimes 40, 50, 60, as aged. And they are being skipped over for jobs that they could do because they've got the experience, they've got the know-how, but they're being skipped over because of age. And so the new terminology, which I found out yesterday, is ageism. So I did some research on the subject because it concerns me, because I'm 62. Luckily, I own my own business, so I keep going on and going forward. But if I wasn't, I'd be out there looking for a job. And would people discriminate against my age also? So if you look at the word ageism, there's actually a terminology for that. And the explanation for ageism is a prejudice or discrimination on the grounds of a person's age. Ageism in recruitment is an increasing problem. Now, see, now I don't think of that because I'm working every single day. I'm doing my thing. But there are individuals out there who have been laid off from their job, or they're looking for another job, and they're having a difficulty time finding a new job because of their age. I'll give you a good example. I have a very good friend. Sherry has been my friend ever since college. I've grown up with her children, and I've watched her and her husband raise a good family, get creative, and started businesses, and have worked very hard. Now, Sherry is a project manager, and she's worked very hard to get to that point in the IT field. And she's focus has been on healthcare and working with various companies out there that are providing healthcare IT services to the healthcare industry, the hospitals, skilled nursing facilities, psychological facilities, psych facilities, and she knows it forwards and backwards. Now she's in her 60s. She started seeing a notice when she started losing her work when she was in her 50s, and then into the 60s now. It's very difficult for her to find anything because everybody sees her age. And let me tell you what's happening. If you look at companies such as Dell Computer. Now, Dell has a division that does healthcare IT services. And she worked for them for a while. But what they did is they started bringing in individuals from India, bringing them over from India on an H-1B visa to work, and then eliminated everybody who had been in healthcare before, who are upper aged individuals. They no longer have work. They've been let go. And it's not just in that company, but also in a whole bunch of other companies where they've brought individuals, very young IT professionals over from India. And so now the Americans who used to have a job no longer have it. Based on two things. One, age, and secondly, of a low-cost workforce that they can bring to the United States. Now that is discrimination. And it's not what we should be doing in the United States. If individuals have the ability to work, let them work. That's just how it should be in the United States. I was looking at some statistics. Let me go to that page and so I can tell you what they said. They said researchers have found that ageism is surprisingly commonplace. In one study published in the Gerontologist, researchers looked at how older people were represented like in Facebook pages or Facebook groups. They found 84 groups devoted to the topic of older adults. But most of these groups had been created by people in their 20s. Nearly 75% of the groups existed to criticize older people, and nearly 40% advocated banning them from activities such as driving and shopping. Older adults also feel the impact of this discrimination in their workplace. According to the U.S. Equal Opportunity Commission, about a quarter of all claims filed by workers are related to age-based discrimination. The AARP reports that 1 in 5 workers in the United States is over the age of 55. Nearly 65% of workers say they have experienced age-based discrimination at work, and 58% of those surveyed believe that ageism became apparent starting at age 50. Now, I've seen numbers where people have been discriminated against at being at the age of 40. So we really have a problem in the United States where ageism has become a part of our decision making when we're hiring individuals within our companies or businesses. Now, I heard one excuse, as I was listening to Gary V's vlog, and I was looking at the thread down below of all the comments. There was one individual who said, well, we have been interviewing older people, and what we have found is that when it comes to knowing the jargon and to knowing the buzzwords and to operate a computer, they just didn't have the skills. Well, okay, that's kind of a weak point. And it's a weak point because there are individuals out there, 55, 65, who are so well versed in computers that they have more knowledge than anyone who's at a lower age. Now, this guy who made this comment looked like he was about 25 to 28 years old. High-tech company. Database-driven company. My response to him was, well, then you're looking at the wrong candidates. If you're looking for people who know computers, you advertise for people who know computers. Now, I've also seen ads online that says only college grads apply. That statement right there is discriminatory right there. Listen, I think back about Sherry, and we've had a lot of conversations about because she says, what am I doing wrong? Is there a database out there that says I'm a bad person? And in actuality, what it boils down to, it has nothing to do with her knowledge base and that she's very well qualified for any job, and she's led a lot of teams before. It's based upon being in her 60s and applying for a job. It's that age that people are looking at. And we need to get away from this, because individuals such as myself, who are on the computer every day, who are writing every day, who are doing financial work every day, consulting work, who are advising people every single day, there are people just like me out there who cannot find this work based on age. So ageism is this new word to me that affects me, and it affects a lot of the people that I know. We need to have employers really think about, are they discriminating against older individuals or based upon people's ages for jobs that are open within their companies? And that's a whole mindset that you have to get around within the human resource department when they're pulling resumes. Are they looking at younger people to fill this position, or are they looking at the most qualified individual to fill that position? Qualified individuals should be the number one priority, not the age. But when you have individuals who are looking at people that way, then they are practicing discrimination of their own. And we have to make sure that the HR departments and the leaders and the managers are that they have to go through a different process of thinking. It's not about the age, it's about the qualifications of that individual. Now, this has been going on for quite some time, and it needs to be taken care of. The World Health Organization, they published an article on this very subject, and the last part is how to combat ageism. So, the American Psychological Association suggests that ageism is a serious issue that should be treated the same as sex, race, and disability-based discrimination. They suggest that raising public awareness about the issues ageism creates can help. As the population of older adults continues to increase, finding ways to minimize ageism will become increasingly important. So we have a lot of baby boomers who are at that point in age where they should not be discriminated against. So it needs to be talked about more. If you are in an HR department, if you are a president of a company, or you own a company, or if you are on the board of directors, I ask that you take a look at the terminology of ageism, and is it being practiced within your companies? If it is, stop. Are you making your decisions based upon costs of who's cheaper, so you bring over a load of individuals from other foreign countries to do the job that a well-qualified individual can do here in the United States. Remember, within any business, it is about finding the most qualified individual to do the job that brings value to your company. No matter what age it is. But if you're practicing ageism, you're not getting the most qualified individual. So we need to really take a focused look on ageism within companies. We cannot allow for individuals to bring in 30 people from a foreign country to do a job that an American can do, and an individual of age with the qualifications that can do it much better than what they can do, because they've already been through the whole experience before. They know the questions to ask. They know what to look for. They've got the experience and the qualifications to do so. My friend Sherry, she's the best in her field. If you want her to find the problem, she'll find the problem. I remember one time she was telling me a story about how she was consulting with this one group that was providing the updates to psych hospitals and the billing processes and everything else. And there was a company out there doing this for the federal government, and they were being paid by the federal government. The problem is that when they started to look at putting this whole program together, they had programmers, they had technicians, they had everybody working on this project. And Sherry was brought in as a consultant, and the first question she asked was, if there is a legal liability, who holds that liability on this program? And they asked, what do you mean? She says, well, at some point in time, there's going to be a legal issue, and it's all going to point back to one single system and design of this system. Who's going to hold that legal responsibility? That question went up to the legal department, and they put a hold on the programming process until they found out the answer to that question. But that question should have been asked at the very beginning of the project so that they knew who the legal responsibility or legal liability will fall upon as they design their system, so that thought process was within the design thought process. And it came with Sherry came into the onto the project, and she asked that question because that's the first question that you ask when you implement a system, a new system. So there you had an individual who had the qualifications. Now the sad part about that is that her job was terminated because they brought in more individuals from India. And that seems to be the common theme of these IT departments of hiring individuals from overseas because it costs them less. Instead of paying $45 an hour, they can find an individual from a foreign country that can do it for $20 to $25 an hour. So that's their incentive, is to cut costs, not on the qualifications or the experience level of these individuals, but based upon costs. But no one should be let go of their job based on age or ageism. So as we build companies and as we go to work for companies, and if you are in an HR department or a leader of a company, president of a company, or on the board of directors of a company, ask the most important question is, are they practicing or are you practicing ageism as you find new employees for your company? Think about it. Because at some point in time, you're going to be at that same age. And you're going to be asking the same question, why is it I can't find a job at my age? Ageism needs to be looked at very carefully by every organization out there. And if you're in the sound of my voice, and if you're practicing ageism, stop it right now, because you are not doing any good to the American system, because we have very qualified people who are up in age, but they have the experience level that can help your company. If you have any questions on this subject, send me an email at mlodge@lodge-co.com or text me at 818-252-5682. I'll repeat that again, 818-252-5682. Send me a text. I want to hear from you if you've had ageism directed to you. If you've had age discrimination towards you, I want to hear your story. Send it to me, because I'm going to approach this subject again and again and again, hopefully so that people will begin to take notice that ageism is not the practice of any company. This is Mike Lodge for the WBT. I will talk with you very, very soon.
Thank you for listening to the WBT with Michael Lodge. Join us again tomorrow as we explore more about business and taxes. Follow us on iHeartRadio and go to our podcast website at www.wbtpod.com and listen to all of our podcasts and read our blogs.
This is brought to you by Lodge & Co., a business and tax advisory firm where your success is our goal. Call us today toll-free at 888-681-1518 or visit us at www.lodge-co.com and learn more about what we can do for you. Lodge & Co., your source for sound business and tax services.
This podcast has been produced by Michael Lodge, fully content-driven.